You wanted it, you got it. So here's how this video is going to be. As it is, we have so many things to talk about. So I will only talk about the differences between both phones. For example, I will definitely talk about the cameras and the battery life because they're not equally good on both phones. But things like GPS and Bluetooth are pretty much the same on both. I will skip such things because they will not help you choose one phone over the other. And remember, this is a technology jog style comparison, so we are not gonna see which phone is better. We are just gonna find out which one is better for you, for your usage, for your needs and requirements. In case you are wondering, my name is Ashwin Sundar and I can't wait to talk about these phones. So let's get started. Both phones have very expensive displays, so it's better if you protect them using a tempered glass like the premium one from our sponsor Glazed Ink. What's special about them is that they have actual 2.5D curved glass along the edges, so the entire screen is covered. No air bubbles or awkward gaps like these, which you might get from installing any other tempered glass available in the market. Glazed Ink makes tempered glasses for a lot of phones, so do check out Glazed Ink, link in the description. Use the promo code TJOG to get 10% discount. Unlocking. Something we do over 100 times a day, but I don't know why people tend to forget about it while comparing two phones. Anyway, the OnePlus 7T is clearly the faster of the two. And the result doesn't change even when we try face unlock. The 7T unlocks almost instantly. Easy win. And of course, the moment you unlock the phone, what you see is the display, and undoubtedly these are the best displays in this price segment. Obviously on paper you're gonna see some differences. Technically the ROG Phone II's display is more accurate in terms of color reproduction, about 10% more accurate. But trust me, you're not gonna notice the difference in real life. It's not prominent at all. Anyway, both phones offer various options in settings to tune the display colors to your taste. Both are Full HD Plus AMOLED panels with support for HDR. The major difference kicks in when we start interacting with the displays. When we swipe and scroll, the OnePlus 7T has a smooth 90Hz panel, but the ROG Phone II has an industry-leading 120Hz panel. Now, is this noticeable? For the most part, yes, especially while swiping and scrolling. But Oxygen OS offers a really smooth experience as it is. The gestures are buttery smooth, so it brings the OnePlus's display a little closer to the ROG 2's display in terms of smoothness. Like the actual feel while using the display is actually really good. And of course, a lot of games don't support more than 60Hz, and even if they do, most of them might not cross 90 FPS. So for gaming, refresh rate won't really make a difference as of today. But for just about anything else apart from gaming, the ROG Phone II is better. It also gets slightly brighter, that's something I noticed. Also, the touch sensing rate is 240Hz. Basically, it responds faster to your touches. So of course, overall, the ROG Phone II takes this round. Now, audio is another important thing for having a good overall media experience, be it gaming or streaming TV shows. And here the ROG Phone II blows the 7T out of the water. There is no comparison. In terms of loudness, both are almost equally good, but the sound coming out of the ROG 2 is fuller. As in, you can even notice the instrument separation. The different sounds in a music track are distinct. It's slightly more noticeable on the ROG 2. And if you want even louder audio, you can turn on outdoor mode in quick settings and it starts screaming at you. Just listen to this. Pipe is being used for. If the pipe is used at home, when you take a shower, the pipe won't really catch. Depends on what the pipe is being used for. If the pipe is used at home, when you take a shower, the pipe won't. It really enhances the dialogues. The quality goes down by a bit, but whenever you really need super loud audio, the trade-off would be absolutely worth it. Moreover, the ROG Phone II has a headphone jack with TTS Headphone X support. The audio quality is again fantastic. The 7T on the other hand, on top of excluding the headphone jack, doesn't even come with the headphone jack adapter, and that's annoying. Design and build. Here I would say the tables are turned. The OnePlus 7T is actually pretty big and heavy, but the ROG 2 is even bigger and heavier. It's got a flashy design as well. I wouldn't say it looks bad. I mean, it has a glowing ROG logo, it has that killer look with the orange vent and those virtual circuit lines refracting light, but it may not be a desirable thing for regular consumers, non-gamers. The 70 on the other hand definitely looks more classy, more elegant. Of course, the ROG 2 was made with gamers in mind. That's the reason there is so much going on. For what it's worth, the ROG 2's camera setup is flush with the back panel. The 7T has a huge bump and the edges are a bit too sharp. Linus from Linus Tech Tips was found peeling a carrot using it. And the extra weight is not really noticeable because the phone is also bigger, so the weight is spread out, so it doesn't feel that much heavier in hand. It feels almost similar. But the size and the relatively huge bezels are a problem. The display size is almost the same, but the overall footprint is much bigger. Let's now go through some minor stuff before jumping on to some interesting stuff. Like I mentioned earlier, the ROG 2 has a headphone jack. Apart from that, there is a second USB Type-C port on the left-hand side. So while you're gaming, you can use this port instead of the one at the bottom. So this way, the cable won't get in the way. There is also a proprietary accessory connector using which you can connect one of the many gaming accessories that Asus has, like the twin view dock, which has an additional 120Hz display with 6000 mAh battery, the Aero Active Cooler 2, which has a dedicated fan for cooling, a dock for using your mobile like a gaming desktop PC with keyboard and all that. Everything has to be purchased separately though. But the point is, you have an option, you have the connector. Speaking of gaming, the ROG 2 has something called air triggers. We have 3 of them. You can just press here to carry out an action and it's completely customizable. You can use 2 air triggers for gaming. Most people use them for aim and shoot, but it's completely up to you. These air triggers really take the gameplay to the next level. I'm not a hardcore gamer, I'll be frank. But look at these numbers I managed to score. All thanks to air triggers. Like carrying out 4 actions at the same time simultaneously, it's a big thing for average players like me. The phone doesn't really need those gaming accessories to look like a gaming phone. These air triggers take care of that job. The ROG Phone II simply offers much better gaming experience with a larger, wider display, better audio, faster touch sensing rate, refresh rate, and air triggers. It's also got 4 microphones for capturing audio or cancelling noise depending on what you're doing. And while gaming, when your hands cover the microphones on the 2 sides, there is one on the top so you can talk to your PUBG squad members freely without your voice getting blocked. The ROG 2 also has FM radio, something that's very rare in the flagship segment. When it comes to these miscellaneous stuff, the 70 doesn't have a lot to boast about, but except for the lack of headphone jack, there is nothing negative about it. It does everything fine. Plus, there is the alert slider, which is really useful. I still can't understand why other Android phones are not adopting it. The dual haptic feedback on the ROG 2 is amazing for gaming, but for regular usage, it's not great. The vibration is too strong for my taste. The 7T has an upgraded haptic motor which functions much better. Also, a few people commented on my ROG 2 review that they wanted to know how the Wi-Fi performance is, since they heard from somewhere it's being throttled or something. Well, I ran this test one after another. These were the results. And then ran the test on both phones simultaneously. The ROG Phone II was faster. Not a huge difference, I wouldn't bother about this. I showed it only because some of you asked for it. Speaking of things I wouldn't worry about. Performance. Snapdragon 855 Plus on both phones. As you would expect, the performance is top notch. Even the most demanding apps and games are handled quite well by both phones. And they do it for long sessions. The vent on the ROG 2 certainly helps. Also on the ROG 2, you have a dedicated performance mode called the X mode. Also in the Armory Crate app, you can tune the performance for each game. You can set the speed, the maximum temperature before throttling, and so on. You can even set refresh rate, touch sensitivity, etc. manually for each and every game. So yeah, while the performance is equally good, the ROG Phone II offers more control over the performance, which is something hardcore gamers or enthusiasts might like. Now, with that kind of performance and a high refresh rate display, The battery life on the OnePlus 7T takes a hit. For normal, medium usage, getting through one day on the 90Hz mode is fine. Not very easy if you do a bit of gaming or click a lot of photos. On heavy usage, getting through one full day becomes a little difficult. The 3800 mAh battery could only do so much. The ROG Phone II, on the other hand, has a 6000 mAh battery, which offers crazy battery life. Even with heavy usage, like on this particular cycle, I played a lot of Call of Duty, streamed some content, and yet I got through 2 full days with about 9 hours screen on time. Now, I'm getting 5 to 6 hours screen on time on this OnePlus 7T, but what I actually did during those 5 to 6 hours really matters. On the ROG 2, I literally didn't care about what I was doing. Like, I attend launch events from time to time, right? So that's one full day of traveling. I'm on mobile data all day, but I could play a couple of Call of Duty games before getting on the flight. While on the 7T, I would worry about getting through one full day, so I would rather listen to music. So in the 2 weeks I used the ROG Phone II, that peace of mind was a really great feeling. I never had to take a power bank with me. I could stream, game, do whatever I want without worrying about battery life. But when it comes to charging, the ROG Phone II is really slow because it ships with an 18 watts charger, the 38,000 rupee variant. The 60,000 rupee variant comes with the 30 watts charger. You can get the 30 watts chargers separately for around 2,000 rupees, while the 7T comes with Warp Charger 30T out of the box, and it charges from 0 to 100% in just about 1 hour. That's super quick. But for battery performance, overall, I would still go with the ROG Phone II. 2-day battery life is something you can't find on any other flagship. Next up, cameras. The 7T is better. No second thoughts. In low light, the 7T absolutely kills it. The new Nightscape mode is fantastic. It even rivals Google's Night Sight mode. Here's a Gcam versus stock cam comparison if you're interested. Also, the 7T has a triple camera setup, while the ROG 2 has a dual camera setup. The main cameras use the same IMX586 sensor, but the 7T uses a better lens, which lets more light in. That's the reason it performs better when the lighting is bad. Both phones have an ultra-wide camera. The images look very similar unless we zoom in which case you can see more details on the 7T's image. The 7T also has a telephoto camera which can do 2x optical zoom, so that's another handy feature. You can use this camera for portrait mode, and like I always say, portraits look considerably better when shot using zoom cameras. I know you're tired of hearing it, but new viewers need to hear it, right? Now, this doesn't mean in any way that the ROG 2's camera performance is bad or average. I spoke about it in the review as well. The color reproduction on the ROG 2 is amazing. It produces really natural colors. What you're seeing on the ROG 2's photo is exactly what I saw in real life. Of course, many people prefer a more saturated look, and in some situations, I felt the ROG 2 did a better job. The 7T's images turned out very contrasty, like the dark regions are too dark, and it occasionally messes up the colors as well. So yeah, these things happen occasionally, but overall the 7T is better. For what it's worth, the ROG 2 has good support for Google camera, and the best thing is you can access the ultra-wide camera as well on Gcam. On the 7T, installing Gcam is possible, it works well, but to access the ultra-wide or telephoto camera, you need to root the phone. But like I said, the stock camera itself is performing really well, just that it's not as reliable as Gcam. Last but not least, software. Well, this time the difference is not as huge. The ROG 2 runs on stock Android 9 Pie with some customizations. For example, the Armory Crate app that we saw earlier, the X mode. Also, you can customize the air triggers. Just squeeze to activate something. I've set short squeeze to Google Assistant and long squeeze to X mode. So the air triggers are actually useful even for non-gamers. Also, there are these gaming themes which look incredible, that's what I feel. But if you prefer a cleaner, more simple theme, well, you can just switch to it in settings, and it becomes the stock Android interface we are all familiar with. Apart from those customizations, it doesn't have any features in specific. The 7T, on the other hand, quite literally, runs on Oxygen OS 10 based on Android 10, and has a lot of features. Here's a tips and tricks video that I did. You will find it really useful. So yeah, an extremely smooth interface with great gestures and just the right amount of features makes the 70 the best option in the industry when it comes to user experience. That said, the ROG Phone II with stock Android is definitely the second best thing one could ask for. You can expect 2 to 3 major Android upgrades from both brands, but given that the 70 is starting with Android 10, there is a chance we see Android 13 later down the road. So here's the technology jock style comparison table. Whether you're a OnePlus fan or a ROG fan doesn't matter. This is about which phone is better for your requirements. The ROG Phone II does seem to be the better option overall, but of course, if you want the best software experience, better camera performance, and a more classy build and design, the ROG 2 falls behind. The 70 is better for you. Or if you're a hardcore gamer, you play a lot of PUBG or Call of Duty, you want that super smooth 120Hz display, much better audio, and you want the battery to back everything up even while maxing out all the settings like full brightness, 120Hz, gaming, streaming, etc., then the ROG Phone II is the one for you. So pause the video if you want, take a look at this for a while, and then make a decision. If you still cannot, let me know whatever questions you have in the comment section. I'll get back to you as early as possible. Thanks for watching. See you soon in the comment section probably. Take care.